All right. This is 15 minutes. It's Ghostboi. A lot of people don't know who the fuck I am. A lot of people just think I'm, I guess, a character. But anyways, I was created through the inception of pain and grief. And I am the second, maybe third phase of the stages of grief. You were introduced to me after Jamie, the album that everyone, I guess, loves now. But at first they said was not Christian enough, and I didn't talk about God enough, and my heartbreak just wasn't real. And so after seeing that, it became a rage and a pain and an anger, because I was grieving something very real. I was grieving loss of time, loss of a loved one, and loss of myself. And I had a million eyes judging my own personal faiths and my own life that I wasn't that showy about, but I made mistakes when I was young, showing myself on the internet more than I should have, and I realized the weight of that. And so it became a very angry character, a very youthful character, a character that I think people can relate to. They were pushed out of a community, they were pushed out of a society, and they said, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna just start my own shit. That's what Ghostboi did. He said, fuck it. You're gonna push me out? All right. You think that I'm not? Okay. And so I made Her Love So Haunts Me Like a Ghost. Pretty much maybe a month or two after Jamie was released. That album is filled with so much rage and anger, but also it's bound. It's bound to demons. It's dark. It's ugly. And it's not meant to glorify the dark, but it's just saying that this is darkness. It's a symbol of the sins we indulge in. The cigarettes. The cigarette is a symbol of a vice, something we all do. A vice is simply something that's bad, but we do it because it makes us feel good. But the thing is, people look at my vice that's very open and you can see it, and they can point harder because my vice is not the same as their vice. Their vice might be an Instagram addiction or anything. But since my vice is so visible, I receive more judgment for it. But nonetheless, Ghostboi was created during this time. I was working on a lot of music. I was working on Montell. I was working on Escape. I think I made those songs back to back, and I think a lot of people thought at first, like, oh, this is just the fake Weekend or something like that. And then when you listen to both those songs back to back, you realize, oh, this is full on rock. Like when you listen to Hotel and to Escape, you can hear the same guitar, that same guitar, like me just messing around in my bedroom with just an anger. And just saying, oh, you think I'm just going to just sit here and no drums and just have you peaceful? Yeah, I can do that. I can play that character, but I could also play this one. So I got really angry, and you can hear all that distortion. It hurts your ears. It literally hurts your ears to listen, but that's the goodness of the track. You can't escape it. It's like hurting your ears to listen, but you can't escape it. And I think that's another showing of the vice. Every detail of the project is so layered, and even songs that people don't like, maybe like Blame, or maybe if people don't like Bathroom, there's still so many elements in there that represent the state of mind that Ghostboi lives in. And that's why my music isn't so much about lyrics, or it's not so much about I guess following structures, because it's such a feeling. It speaks to something deeper. That's what Ghostboi does. He speaks to the youth. He speaks to you. He lets you know, hey, I've been there too, and we can get through this together. I know it's scary. Life is scary. The whole reason I created these projects and these characters was to help me get through my own fear of death. But Ghostboi is meant to be a transitional character. The project, Her Love So Haunts Me Like a Ghost, was meant to be a transitional project. It was never meant to be something that would stand too far out from the original trilogy, which is Jamie, Charlotte, and Marshall. But the thing with Charlotte was, in the phases of grief, if you follow them, it's denial, isolation, anger. So I guess you could say anger is Ghostboi. Jamie is denial and isolation, because I was in denial if I was still in love or if they were still in love with me. And the project feels so isolating with the guitars and acoustic guitars they're not very warm. It's a very cool album. Her Love Still Haunts Me Like a Ghost is a very warm album. It's angry, it's full of passion and emotion, a different kind of emotion. But I knew that Charlotte would bring me to a deep place, because Charlotte is about anger, it's about bargaining and depression. So carrying on from some of that anger of Ghostboi, but now it's a bargaining and a depression. Now, I've had glimpses of depression and thoughts that are not very good, but what I've been feeling lately is far beyond what I've ever imagined. But I say in the hook of Every Night, or in the verse of Every Night, this is my way, I can't fake it, no more faking. A lot of this feels predestined before me. It feels like I'm on a purpose that was already set before me. And so I'm making these projects with a knowing of where I will return, but a need to process what I've been through. You know, I never thought people would start seeing the visions and everything like I'm seeing them. But I think people are starting to finally see them. So, after the project, I began rolling out this event called No Blondes. And that's the thing. I hide so much of myself. And then when I release a joke event like No Blondes, people take the persona that they know me as through music, and they ask, oh, is he serious about No Blondes? Of course I'm not serious, but I do want you to pay attention. So I drop No Blondes, and then I drop a script written by my boy Caleb Wild, Gator Boy, 1017, about this little kid. It's basically a reflection of me and the kids like me. I grew up maybe kind of chubby, maybe not as cool in middle school, high school. Their mom loves them, and they got rejected. They got rejected by blondes. And but they internalized everything that they went through, and they said, all right, well, I'm gonna do what it takes to not be rejected one day. Is that unhealthy? Maybe. But it's the story of a ghost boy and a ghost girl. And I think a lot of people feel that. But anyways, I worked on this event called No Blondes. I was touring this tour called A Night with a Ghost, and I got very sick. I thought I was going to die at some point, and I was very tired, and I was getting worn out. I was getting empty. I could sense the depression of Charlotte coming as well. But I kept pressing on until I got sick, and then I let my boy Caleb and his photographer Brandon Menton and the California guys plan out this event called No Blondes. It was basically an event that we did in Paris maybe a few months back in September. We thought maybe only 100, 150 kids would come. It ended up being 700-800 kids came to this art gallery we made. It was the inception of Ghostboi. So on the wall we had people that he looked up to. We had this mannequin that we spray painted, very just like skate culture. Because I grew up skating, me and Caleb, we know about skate culture. Just very skater, but it wasn't much of a gallery because there was so many kids and it was so packed in there that no one could really see the art. We played the film we worked on around the Jamie era. The park closes at sunset, which is meant to be, a reflection of a lot of the things in Jamie. But we had that event and we knew, okay, we have the youth, we have these kids, we have these people that want to believe in something and that are resonating. They resonate so much with us that they're willing to come 2 hours, 3 hours on a train. These kids are willing to come that far for a free concert that they may or may not get into. So we're like, oh, all right, what the fuck? Like, this is our shit. It doesn't matter about the label. It doesn't matter about the labels put on us. This is us right now. This is us right here. And I was like, okay, we got to do this in the one place where we know a lot of fakeness resides. And so we chose LA. We chose LA because there's so many blondes in the industry. So many blondes just facade. A lot of plastic surgery, a lot of darkness, a lot of doing this to fit in, a lot of finagling just to fit in, and the skate culture is so against that. So we just said, hey, no blondes, no fake people allowed. Only the real can come to this shit. If you want to come to this shit, you gotta be real. And we held that shit down. So we had 1,200 kids packed into a tight room for free, and I gave the best performance I ever gave in my life. The people that were inside of that circle seen something magical. I didn't even know what it was. But it was the full form of Ghostboi, a character that I created to help me process pain, to help me process grief, to help me process life. So at the event, we had my bedroom, Ghostboi's bedroom, in one of the corners. A lot of crazy stuff on there, a lot of Playboy magazines and photos on the wall and kind of little notes to himself, like you gotta lose weight, all kind of curated by Caleb. We had a photo series by Brandon Minton along the wall as well, which is a beautiful photo series, kind of about the inception of him being rejected by his first blonde. And then we had on the beginning wall when you walked into the left, right after the opener, Luke Wilde, we had a film play that represented a lot of the kids that come to these shows. So we put out on Instagram just a few questions. What makes you angry? What makes you upset? When do you feel left out? Shit like that. And we got an answer from a bunch of kids, some kids from overseas and everywhere. And we put them into this film. And it's the most emotional thing because you can see just how similar everyone is, and you get to see the state of the world we're in. And so that film will probably come out next month, directed by Caleb Wilde, and it'll be scored by myself. We're working on a lot of films. We're working on a lot of... It's not even about films. It's just about expression. So we're tired of explaining this shit. A lot of times we have to do this shit just to get people to understand for their acceptance, but what's felt doesn't need to be explained. So that's why I don't explain a lot of shit, because I make stuff to feel. Everything I do is to feel. So Charlotte is on the way. It's being created day by day, living it out. I just hope it doesn't get too dark. Well, anyways, it's 15 minutes with Ghostboi, walking around New York City right now, and maybe this will bring some clarity to situations.